Support for WUWM podcasts comes from University School of Milwaukee, fulfilling a values-based mission of developing learners, fostering leaders, and preparing citizens for pre-kindergarten through 12th grade. More information at usm.org/mission.
Bird watching is out, and birding is in. The phrase bird watching doesn't cover the full range of people who love searching for birds. 1 in 4 American adults have some type of disability, and every individual has different accessibility needs. For blind and low-vision birders, birding is done by ear. Holly Walls is a park naturalist with the Ware Nature Center, and Michael Diaz is a volunteer at the center. While Holly is a sighted birder and Michael is a blind birder, both say that birding by ear is a skill that vision and non-vision impaired folks can learn to help them identify birds. They both join Lake Effect's X-Grit Nunez for this month's Chirp Chat to share the joys of birding by ear and how the Ware Nature Center is working to make the outdoors accessible for everyone.
The birding community uses a lot of different lingo. For example, the word birding. I think it's a really fun word to say, but why do we call it birding and not bird watching? I could start with Holly and then Michael.
Okay, so my explanation for that is bird is a verb. I actually have a cup sitting right next to me that says bird is a verb. It's also a noun, but when you get outside and you're looking for birds to either hear them or see them, it's an action and it's called birding. You could just watch them, but what fun is that? When you can hear their beautiful songs and define which bird you're actually listening to by what they sing.
And go ahead, Michael.
And my definition of it is, for bird watching, yeah, that's for sighted. But then what about us? I'm blind and I listen to birds. I identify birds by sound. And birding is just like an all-inclusive term. And half of the time you can't even see the birds because they're either hiding or covered by foliage. So you end up identifying them by ear anyway.
And
exactly.
I totally agree with that. And I also feel like to say birding is not only inclusive of all abilities, but all of interest levels too. Like, if you enjoy seeing or hearing a bird outside your window, but you have no idea what it is, I would say you're still birding or you're still a birder,
Definitely.
right? So with that in mind, there are many ways you can go about birding. Like you mentioned, Michael, birding by ear is one way. Can you explain what birding by ear is? Because, some listeners might think, well, don't all birds sound the same?
All birds definitely do not sound the same. Birding by ear is basically identifying birds by sound. Some birds are very easy to identify by sound, while others you get more advanced because they tend to sometimes sound similar. Not necessarily the same, but very, very similar. So for me, hearing the bird is the only way to identify it. So if I see a random bird flying, like with the little vision that I have, I'm not going to know what it is. So I have to hear it in order to identify it.
Well, Holly shared with me that you can identify more than 200 bird species. Is that correct?
That is true.
That's absolutely incredible. I don't even think I can list like 20 birds off the top of my head. So my thought is how do you differentiate so many bird songs?
Well, learning from a young age definitely helped. I am 22 years old. I've been birding ever since I was 5. My mother's friend sent us a bunch of birding by ear CDs and a bird book. And I would just sit there and listen to those CDs for hours and hours and hours. I think the CDs that I grew up with, I think that had 150 birds. And it would told you how to identify them by sound. There are mnemonic devices that you can use. So mnemonic devices are basically, what does the bird sound like it's saying? And you can use those to identify birds by sound as well. So that kind of grew from 150, and then I became a lot more serious about it as well. And I just started learning through other methods and more CDs and just out in the field. And that number just grew and grew and grew.
And so I guess put me in like an example of you want to learn what a certain bird sounds like, or like remember it or memorize it. Like, what do you do to do that?
So this is a good example. I went on a cruise. I've been on several cruises in Europe through the years. And last year we went to Italy, and I was hearing all these birds in Europe around me, and I had no clue what any of them were, and it drove me crazy. So I went out and I got like a bird book and Birding by Ear CD for Europe, but I also used the Merlin app, which is basically an app on your phone that can try to identify birds. The AI identifies birds. This is not always accurate, so you have to like identify them yourself and like confirm it. But there was a section on there for European birds. And what I would do is I would get up at 6:30 in the morning and I would go outside and just listen to the birds around me. And I would have Merlin on. If a bird came up, I would play that bird sound because that app includes, like, you can hear the sounds of each bird. They have recordings that people have taken of that bird. So I would confirm that. And yeah, I didn't have to go far outside of the place that we were staying at, and I could identify over 15 different birds in that one area. It's just about getting yourself familiar with one area and with the birds that are in that area, because you'll hear them over and over and over again. Eventually, you'll become familiar with them.
And this is something that like anyone could do.
Anyone can do it from their home. Just open a window. Open a window. Listen to the birds outside. Get familiar with your common backyard birds. And you'll have fun with that. It's such a great thing to do.
Can we do an example together so people can hear how mnemonic devices work? Yeah. So if I play the sound of a black-capped chickadee and then I'll play a sound of a white-throated sparrow, if you could tell me like how you were able to recognize the difference between the two?
Yes.
Okay, let me play a song just so people can hear it first. All right, so what mnemonic device do you use for a black-capped chickadee?
So black-capped chickadees, I don't know. Some people say it sounds like cheeseburger, and I just don't think that's true.
I agree with you, Michael.
I don't know. I kind of get feed me out of it. Feed me. And it's all about pitches too. I am one of those who has perfect pitch, so I can identify birds based on like the pitch of their call. A lot of times birds will hover around the same pitch, register, and tone. So that makes it cool as well.
That's incredible. Okay, now I'm going to play a white-throated sparrow. All right, what's the mnemonic device for the white-throated sparrow?
I feel like these get even more confusing. It's difficult with those because they're so high. And a lot of people try to use mnemonic devices for those. Like some people say it's like, oh, Sam, Peabody, or Peabody, which kind of, definitely the Peabody part. Some other people say, what is it? The say Canada.
Oh, Canada.
Oh, Canada, which, nah.
I feel like they have a lot of dialect too.
They do.
Well, we heard the black-capped chickadee, we heard the white-throated sparrow, and these are just like isolated songs that I just played. So like I'm sure when we're out there, especially at 6:30 in the morning, like you said, there's like a whole symphony going on.
So birding by ear gets difficult when you're in the field because there will be a lot of birds calling at once. So you really have to work on isolating the different birds that you're hearing. And that's something that I have had to get used to, especially for a new area that I'm working in, like Europe. I had to get used to hearing all the different birds at once and trying to pick out the different birds that I'm hearing. It gets hard.
I'm Lake Effects Excret Nunez, speaking with Michael Diaz and Holly Walls about birding by ear and making the outdoors accessible for everyone. Michael, I know we'll go birding together in a little bit, but can you describe what birding is like for you and how you navigate trails?
So navigating trails, I use my white cane as a blind person, and a lot of times I will have a sighted guide, especially if I don't know the area. And at Ware Nature Center, we made tactile and braille maps and trail descriptions that people can use to orient themselves and to identify what trails they want to go on and where they are in the park.
And Holly, I know that a big part of the Ware Nature Center's mission is to make the outdoors accessible to people of all abilities. Michael mentioned a couple of things that the Ware Nature Center is doing, but can you talk about what makes a trail accessible?
Sure. We have a mile of accessible boardwalk, meaning that it's a hard surface that's easier for people to walk on, to roll on, to use their white canes. The boardwalk has raised edges so that people should not be able to fall off of the edge should they go on their own or even with a sighted guide. We have accessible restrooms, mobility devices to help people get outside if they have mobility restraint, such as rollerators and wheelchairs and seat canes. And we just think that the outdoors are for everyone, and it's free. I mean, aside from our $5 parking fee, but anybody should be able to get outside and enjoy the outdoors.
And how hard would it be for other parks to adopt some of these changes? Because it doesn't seem like it'd be that difficult, right?
Yeah. We'd like to see that happening around the United States. We follow a couple of different organizations like Birdability. It's a worldwide organization, nonprofit, that is really helping people understand how to do it. Not only how to do it, but how to help all people of all abilities get outside. I had answered questions from a couple of nature centers around the United States about what we are doing because the word is getting out. So I think the more that we talk about it, the better other people can follow along and help everyone get outside. And getting people like Michael to speak up and out for people with different abilities, because listening to them is how we learn.
So on the topic of birdability, Ware recently hosted its second ever Blind Birder Birdathon and hosted a birding by ear program. Can you tell me more about what these two events were and how did it come up?
Well, I grew up in the South, so we have heavy vegetation around at all times, and so the birds would hardly ever be in sight. So I began birding by ear very young. It was a realm of nature that we hadn't had any programming on before. So when I first became a naturalist with the Nature Center about 5 years ago, I started the Birding by Ear program. I heard about Birdability's Blind Birder Birdathon last year, was their first iteration of the Birdathon. And then they tried it again this year with even more support from around the world. So it's a global operation now. So I can only see it getting bigger. It was also a great way to introduce a group of people who hadn't been to the Nature Center about our trails and how accessible they are, or learn how they aren't accessible as well. So it's always a work in progress.
Definitely. I'm also thinking, like, how do you help people learn about birding by ear or how to remember stuff?
It's practice, it's repetition, it's picturing something in your head that goes along with the bird song that you're hearing. Sometimes it's a sounds like, as in with the northern cardinal, it sounds like a laser gun sometimes. Or sometimes he says pretty, 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 or wit, wit, wit. It just depends on the bird and what works for you, because what works for me may not work for everyone. So I offer several different options on helping to remember and remind people that they're not going to walk out of class knowing how to identify all the birds by song. they're going to have to practice. And that's the beauty of it, because it's meditative. It's a hobby that doesn't cost very much money. Anyone can do it. It gets people outdoors and increases our health, and health is wealth.
Absolutely. So we're nearing the end of Chirp Chat, but I want to take it back to the beginning. Tell me about the joy you each experience from birding by ear and why you encourage people to try it for themselves.
There's nothing like hearing a bird that you've never heard before and actively trying to hear specific birds and crossing it off your list. A life list is what we call, and what all of us birders call, our list of birds that we've heard. I probably have over 230 on that list right now, and I keep getting life birds. I keep getting birds that I have never heard before out in the field. And it's just, every single time I hear a new bird that I've never heard before, I just get so excited because it's a passion and it's incredible.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, Michael. Holly, what about you? Could you share a bit of that joy with me that you experience from birding by ear?
Well, birding by ear, just birding in general, just getting outside, it makes me forget about anything that is bothering me, or there's singing. There's just nothing like it that compares to a bird's song. And I don't know, maybe I was a bird in a past life.
Definitely.
but it's something that definitely calms my nerves, my anxieties, and makes me feel more at home.
And I want to add, when you become a serious enough birder, or even if you're not, I find myself longing to go to other places, longing to travel just to bird. Like, oh, I've never been to that state park before. I wonder if they have any new birds that I've never heard before. Let's go. Like, it's just a great way to explore the world, to get out there, to hear about different places and have that lust to go there, that travel lust to go there. It's a great way to explore the outdoors.
Well said.
I love how you put it, Michael. Well, Holly and Michael, we've reached the end of Chirp Chat, but before we wrap up, I always love to ask guests to shine a spotlight on a bird for the month. So I'll ask each of you, what's a bird you'd like to highlight this month?
Well, I just saw a Blackburnian warbler just the other day, and it was very close to me, and I was able to snap a few pictures of it. So I was pretty excited by him. He was singing. It was a male with a fiery orange throat, bright as the sun. You almost had to put on sunglasses just to look at him. And he was actively feeding among the oak flowers they're budding on the oak tree. And it was just a moment that I could relish in the sunshine outside, listening to the birds.
Blackburnian warblers are cool. The bird that I want to highlight this month, this is going to come out of nowhere, but I just thought of it, a veery. A veery, I just want to highlight this because, I mean, it's pretty, but it's not brightly colored like other birds, and it doesn't really catch your eye. But the veery has one of the most beautiful bird songs I've ever heard. So even if a bird, even if it looks, quote unquote boring, it can have a beautiful song. And that's why you should bird by ear.
Holly and Michael, thank you both so much for sharing your experiences with me and helping me learn about the joys of birding by ear.
Definitely.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Love sharing my passion with everyone. It's so much fun.
Thank you. And I'm excited to go birding with you guys.
Definitely.
Yes, let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's explore somewhere we have never explored before. Ooh, I heard a blue-winged warbler over there. That? Yep, blue-wing. Blue-winged warbler. Oh, that's next on the list. Golden-winged warbler, Nashville warbler, Tennessee warblers, just a lot of warblers. Tree swallows, cedar waxwing. Yeah, that's a white-throated sparrow. It's staying on one tone, and it's singing faster.
Pleased to meet you. That was chestnut-sided warbler.
That's a first of the year, too.
fire, where, put it out, indigo bunting.
What's that one?
White-breasted nuthatch.
I like to think of it as a trumpet with a mute. Or they're laughing.
Yeah,
at us.
he's
Yeah, they're
laughing.
laughing at you. Oh, Phoebe, there you go. Eastern Phoebe. So those birds, yeah, you can identify them because they say their name.
Where was he?
Right here.
Over that way? Phoebe.
Shower thought is like that I had a few days ago was like, okay, you're hearing like the bird like singing the same song over and over again, right?
Yeah.
Are they saying the exact same thing over and over?
Oh my gosh.
Or is it like, is there like a subtle difference that we can't hear that other birds can hear?
With all those different voice boxes.
Yeah.
Air sacs they have.
Like, what if we had all the voice boxes that birds had? What would that sound like?
Holly Walls is a park naturalist with the Ware Nature Center, and Michael Diaz is a volunteer at the center. They're also both expert birders that spoke with Lake Effect's Excrid Nunez. You can learn more about the joys of birding by ear and listen to other Chirp Chat interviews at wuwm.com.